Hey guys, it's Niki again here from Sydney, and I want to talk about what happened last night for me in Australia, about the first Bouldering World Cup final 2018 in Meiringen. What happened? The World Cup season started with new rules in regards of the starting position and the zone, not bonus anymore. A lot of different things happened there. We talked about it, we know it all by now. I will not go further into detail about this stuff. I will just talk about the format of the finals, the style and the ranking. So let's start. Format of the finals. I think due to the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020, they want to split the genders, and this time the females started with their final, and after the female finished their finals, we could see the men's final. That takes way more time, maximum of 192 minutes if I done the maths correctly. I'm not a genius when it comes to numbers, but it's definitely longer than ever before, and I think that's one of the reasons why the route setters tweaked the final a little bit easier. If you set a final or if you set a block, you always have a harder or easier, better in mind to tweak it a little bit. But if you have a clear ranking after the semi-final round, which we had, it's always better, well, from my experience, it's always easier to tweak the boulders a little bit easier because you have your ranking and you don't want to have all the women to spend too much time on the wall. You want something to happen, so you make the boulders a little bit easier, and that's what's happened yesterday. We had a slightly easy final round. 3 starters who topped every boulder. Sandra Lettner, in her first Boulder World Cup, she topped only 3. Fanny Gibert topped 3, and Shauna Coxsey, who was, according to her interview afterwards, she was not in her best shape. She enjoyed climbing and she topped only 2 blocks. And I think the final of the girls was over after 1 hour, which was really good for spectators like me, who watched from the other part of the world, and I was really tired. It was 2 in the night when it started, and it was 3 or 3:30 when the girls finished. Was the girls round too easy? Yes. For ranking, from a ranking point of view, you always aim for something like 4 tops, 3 tops, 2 tops, 2 tops, 1 top, 0 tops bonus. A clear ranking. That did not happen yesterday. Why? Maybe it's too early in the season and the route setters didn't know the abilities, the level of the climbers. On the other hand, there was the Quiff, there was Studio Blockmasters and Percy Bishton, who is apparently in charge of the route setting teams for the World Cups. He is the chief setter of the Quiff, and we could all see the Studio Blockmasters, but I don't seriously know whether these competitions play a big role when it comes to the first Boulder World Cup. I heard a lot of complaints about conditions. I talked to Liam Lonsdale and he said that it's really hot, and after a long day the whole gym in Meiringen heats up really much. So all the climbers had to suffer in qualifications and semi-final round. So it's obvious for us route setters and for the route setters at the Boulder World Cup to make it a little bit easier. Means more action, better for the spectators. It's faster done, the whole final, and it's more enjoyable for the climbers as well. And we don't only set for the spectators, we also set for the climbers. And it's also a good lesson for the next Boulder World Cup. So this team from Switzerland can talk to the guys, or maybe some of those setters are going to Russia next week and they know, okay, that's the level, so we can make it a little bit harder. But in my opinion, it's the right option to start a little bit easier and then raise the level for the next Boulder World Cup. Let's talk about the boulders and the style. Boulder number 1, yellow holes, was a typical welcome present. Welcome to the competition. You have to flash it if you want to win. Everyone else should be able to climb it, and I think besides Shauna, everyone did it. It was a tricky sequence to the zone hold. You could climb it on in two different ways. Akiyo Noguchi chose a slightly more powerful way, and then you had to go from a big side pull into the next open side pull, and to minimize and kill the momentum you had to catch a toe hook underneath the volume with the right foot, and the higher you get the left hand hold and the higher you pull with your hands in general, the more stable is your shoulder and the easier it is to get the left hold and catch the toe hook. So boulder number 1 was a typical welcome block for the Boulder World Cup. The jug itself, from which we were going to the left, was really good. So I think one girl made it happen to hang only onto the jug and then campus to the left, and after the campus get the toe hook in. Boulder number 2 had a tricky start with 1, 2, 3 side pulls around the arete, new cheetah holds. After you went around the corner, you went up again with your right hand, and then you had to put a heel hook on the left, boomerang shaped hold, and pull yourself higher into a volcano. And this move was slightly length dependent. Fanny Gibert was still able to hold on with her left foot on the left boomerang. All the other girls had to commit and smear a little bit or pull really hard, and due to the dual tags, it was not possible to heel hook really high on the left foothold. We could see Akiyo Noguchi climbing in complete control, like in the semis as well. She tried to lower the risk of all the moves, so we could see what she did with her right foot. She matched it next to her right hand so she could cross over really easy, and it was way more powerful, but on the other hand she minimized all the risks she was able to, and was able to flash it as well. So is it right? Is it better? Is it wrong? She did it first try, so that's pretty good, right? After the second boulder for the girls, we had Akiyo in front, 2 tops and 2, Janja Garnbret second, 2 tops and 2, and Miho 2 tops and 2. The route setters apparently said that the third block was a little bit harder, and it was. Third block started with a flat hold slabby start. You had to stand up onto 2 superstar volumes, flat and smooth, and then you had to walk over onto 1 flat hold volume, get your left foot higher, and then it was all about commitment. You had to stand up on a dual tags, flat hold, green, screw on, and you had a lot of different options to do this move. You could do left palm down and right hand to the crimp, or left palm down, right hand to the crimp, left hand going over to the left again. We've seen different options to climb this move. In general, it's all about the commitment. You have to stand up really fast on your left foot, push down with the left hand or the right hand, like a turbinator move, left hand, right hand, left hand. I think Miho did it like this. It's all about commitment. If you stand up really quick, really fast, really committed, you get the height, and then you can reach the screw on, and after this you have different ways to get into the stable, secure position again, and the last move wasn't any difficulty. Wasn't hard at all. So everyone who committed fully sent it after 1 or 2 tries. On the other hand, we could see Sandra Lettner, the youngest girl in the finals, in her first Boulder World Cup final. She seemed a little bit clueless. On the other hand, maybe her shoes were a little bit too soft, too worn out, and she didn't commit fully, only in her last try, but for that she had a couple of problems standing on this small screw-on. In general, getting to the zones was up to this point a little bit too easy in my opinion, but maybe the route setters treated it like this because they already had a good split. Shauna seemed to have a little bit less confidence on the slabs. She mentioned it in an interview afterwards as well. She struggled a little bit with the position. Do I stand up fully on my right foot first and then match with my left foot, or do I go over to the left and stand up right foot, left foot? And slabs are really about commitment and confidence. And once you start to struggle, you lose a lot of tension and you can drop out wherever at any point. So she tried it 5 times and then she timed out and she didn't commit fully dynamic. Akiyo Noguchi tried to crimp one of the wall joints in her first try, and this was really good to see because she tried it with the wall joint but she didn't want to let go of this wall. She couldn't commit fully to the left, so she fell down, and on her second try she shifted the weight better to the left and then she made it happen. Boulder number 4. I guess it was Manuel Hasler's block because he loves palm presses like I do, and you had to jump up higher with the right hand, and some girls tried to kick the left volume. No, you had to get your palm into the right position really close to the wall, and it's really important to jump up really high that you get the hold, not like this. No, you have to get it a little bit with bent arms, or the higher you get it, the more stable you are and the easier it is to push your left hand onto the volume and pull a little bit to minimize the momentum. There were 2 ways to do it. Either you stepped higher with your right hand onto the crimp, but then it was only, or it seemed only possible if you matched your feet on the right start foothold. So you gain the momentum with pulling and only a little bit of pushing with your feet. Or you do it like Miho and Akiyo, you skip this crimp and you generate the movement from the lower foothold. My favorite way because it's more swinging, and if you take off the screw on it looks more pure, but in the end both ways worked. After this, the end was a little bit too easy, so we didn't have any separation as mentioned before, after or before the bonus block. Yeah, but that's part of the game because you want to see the girls succeed on the last block, and yeah, they did. It was a great show. I liked it. Let's talk about the styles. I think we had a technical dynamic problem which was still quite powerful on boulder number 1. It was a little bit burly. We continued burly even though it wasn't a red climb. You had to do a dynamic committing move and risky around the red. If you didn't risk at all, like Akiyo, you had to spend way more power. And then a burly top move, which could have been a little bit harder, but it's still draining and exhausting. Boulder number 3 was a slab, so we have a different kind of wall angle. We had a little bit of slab climbing, balancy climbing, followed by another pace, another speed. Slab climbing is most of the times really slow. You have to calm down and put a lot of pressure on your feet. And then when a slab is followed by committing fast and quick movement, where everything just explodes and your body is just like rolling over the wall, and you do some circus and magic, and it's unexpected how you get there. So that's 2 different speeds, and that's sometimes confusing the climbers, and I think it's a really good mix. Boulder number 4 was dynamic and powerful as well. So I think the whole round was powerful, not too powerful. It was crimpy, there were slopers, it was a red climb, so I think in general it was a really good mix of all climbing styles, maybe a little bit on the easier end. Let's talk about the visuals. Only 2 hold brand companies. I criticized this before, and I hope this will change from competition to competition. It looked really well, it looked really good, even though it wasn't monochromatic. Sometimes they used 2 colors, but then the contrast of the colors was really great. And I loved that they updated the old Entreprise volume shaped by Laurent Laporte. He shaped it before, and I think he updated his version for Cheetah, the huge dish in red for the last girls problem. Such a good hold. It's beautiful, so get it. It's huge, big, and it's really good for mantling, for palm pushes. It just looks beautiful. Okay, let's talk about the ranking. Afterwards, we have 3 climbers with 4 tops, 2 climbers with 3 tops, and 1 climber with 2 tops, Shauna Coxsey. And Miho Nonaka, she won with 2 tries less than Janja, and 4 tries less than Akiyo. Akiyo could have won on her the fourth block, but she didn't commit fully, or maybe she was a little bit under pressure. You never know. It's easy to say you didn't commit fully, but it's really hard to walk out last, and you know, you have only 1 try to win, 2 tries to get silver. Every further try gives me the bronze medal. The ranking, we have a ranking, maybe too many tops, but it was a great show. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do, and I hope next time I will try to get an interview with some of the route setters or some quotes, whatever, because this is really important to talk to the route setters as well, to know the conditions they had to work in, and the conditions, the temperature was rising, was not stable, so you always try to make it safe and have a good show, so make it a little bit easier. That's it about the women. Wow, I hope you enjoyed it. 16 minutes of talking, blah 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 blah, climbing. Yeah, see you again hopefully next week in Moscow, after Moscow, and maybe I will do the man. I don't know, it took me a long time, and I'm tired now. Tell me what you think of it. Do you want to have more details about the climbing? Don't you care about the stars on the ranking at all? Should we do something different? Whatever, some feedback is appreciated. Thank you, bye.